welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a blue collar wine show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Continuing with Washington State wines, we are going to the number one category in red wines. I know red blends are huge, but Cabernet Sauvignon is still the king of the reds. Everybody likes Cab, and usually people that start getting a little bit more serious about wine, whatever that means, usually start searching out Cabs. Cabernet Sauvignon in Washington State was actually, Washington really got its start with Riesling and Merlot. In fact, there's a saying, Merlots in Washington State can be very big wines, even bigger than Cabs. And, you know, they say sometimes people use Merlot to kind of soften up a Cab. In Washington State, it said that they use Cab to soften up Merlot, because Merlot's huge. But we're going to look at Cabernet Sauvignon. And I remember when David Lake was like the big dude winemaker for Columbia Winery. He kind of pioneered Cabernet Sauvignon. I remember he did a Red Willow Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon. It was big, chewy Cab. These days, those are not as popular as they used to be, although some people still look for the bigger, chewier, tannic Cabs. But we're going to look at 4 Cabernets from Washington State. We're going to get started right off the bat because I have 4. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but we're going to review 4 wines. The first one is the 2021 Revelry Vintners, Cabernet Sauvignon, Columbia Valley. This rolls in at $18. So all these wines are under $24, which is really cool. There you go, Revelry, $18. Give it a little rinse here before we get started. Yeah, Cabernet Sauvignon is actually the child of Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. Those are the parents of Cabernet Sauvignon. And it is a big category now in Washington State. Never used to be as many as there are now. There's so many Cabs out there from Washington State. Color on this is fairly dark. Kind of a reddish, darker color. Yes, I will get a white background. One of these days I'll remember to do that. Let's see what we get on those. Licorice, currants, cherries for sure. Kind of getting a dusty sort of smell on this one. Even a little pomegranate coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. Pretty serious Cab. Nice spiciness to that one. And the spiciness comes from the oak that they used on this. $18. Interesting that you would get those spice notes on this. So, because you can't be using brand new oak, but they might be using 1-year-old oak or 2-year-old oak on this. But it definitely has a spicy characteristic to it. Good tannic. The tannins aren't super strong, but they're there. It's good structure. Definitely getting currants, cherries, just a touch, just a tiny kiss of vanilla. Nice glow across the palate. I like the pomegranate notes actually come up on the mid palate into the finish. There's just a little bit of a grip on the finish. I like this Cab. I don't think I've had this Cab in a long time. I am impressed. For $18, this is a seriously good Cabernet Sauvignon. I like the spicy notes. They're not huge, but they're there. Kind of like a baking spice almost. I like the finish. The finish gets a little bit more of a red fruit characteristic to it, and it lingers for quite a while with those spice notes. I'm even getting that licorice note coming through as well. I'm going to put this as a 9.5 in the delicious category. Well-made Cab, good structure, good balance. I'm going to go B+, A- on that. Pretty impressed, $18. I'll have to recommend that to a few people looking for a Washington Cab. It's been a long time. So this is Matthew Seller's second label. This is a 2021 Blackboard Cabernet Sauvignon. This was in at $19. And it is, let's see, does it give a Columbia Valley? There it is. So Matthew Sellers inherited a bunch of winemakers that left Quilceda Creek. And for those of you familiar with Quilceda Creek, probably one of the few wineries in Washington State that has garnered the most 100 points from the Wine Spectator if you're into that stuff. But yeah, so these guys left Quilceda Creek. A lot of them went to Matthews, and but the winemaker that makes Blackboard is not from Quilceda Creek, but he has all those dudes around him. Okay, they're making Matthew wines. So this is a little lighter, quite a bit lighter than the last one. I can almost see through it in the reddish tones for sure. Let's see what we get on the nose. Again, I get a little bit of that dustiness, a little bit of definitely currant notes. Maybe hints of milk chocolate, perhaps. Not super intense on the nose. Revelry was a little bit more intense. Let's see what we get on the palate. Probably should have drank that one first. I didn't know what order to go with these. This one's very light, extremely light actually. Almost disappointingly light to me on the mouth. It's almost a little bit watery, just to say that. And let's see that. So this is a 2021. This is a 2020. They're both 21 vintage. Really light in the mouth. I do get a little bit of currant, some chocolate notes. The tannins have just a tight, slight grip on it. But this is a thin cab. I'm not impressed with it at all. I think it's just a little thin. Yeah, it is. It's just thin for a cab. I mean, this is, to me, is a $14 to $15 cab and a $19 package. I would pass on it. It's a little light for me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, like that's funky or anything. I mean, but it's just really, really light. You know, it's like drinking I don't know, a Grenache. I mean, although this is not as good as many Grenaches I've tried. Anyway. It's a pass for me. It's just too light. It doesn't. It has good flavors, but they're not intense at all. There's no really justification for it to be $19. I'm going to go C plus. It's just an average cab. I'm going to just go straight up C. I think C plus might be too generous. Let's move on. This is the 2022 M100. By Fidelitas Hoppus family, Charlie Hoppus and his son Will Hoppus. Now that's very encouraging. Will is sort of following in his dad's footsteps in the winemaking world. Charlie Hoppus is a well-known Washington State winemaker, a very solid winemaker. He loves Red Mountain, but this is a Columbia Valley project. They brought it back. It was an ode to their grandmother, who I think she lived to be 100 years old. Yeah. It says she was 4'8". Great grandma, Mary Jane, passionate, stubborn, caring, who lived to the ripe old age of 100. There you go. I'd like to live to be 100. Okay, let's give it a try here. Let's see what we got. This rolls in at $19, same as the Matthews. I'm hoping for better. There you go. Color on this is much darker. Oh yeah, this is hedging reddish black. A lot darker. Let's see what we get on the nose. Yeah, definitely chocolate notes on this one. Currants, black cherries. I get a little bit of blackberry notes. Got boysenberry, more boysenberry than blackberry. Yeah, like the nose on this one, a little more intense. Let's see what we get on the palate. has sweet tannins to it. A lot of people would like this wine. It has those nice sweet tannins, good structure. The ripe currant notes come through. This is hedging on the sweeter side for me for a cab, but I know a lot of people would like that, especially if you're just getting into cab. You want to say, hey, I want to try a cab. This would be a good starting cab. It has more intensity than the Matthews. The chocolate notes come through. I'm getting a little bit of what am I getting on the finish? Well, the tannins kind of show up on the finish. Yeah, those tannins really kind of, now I'm getting those tannins, really starting to grip on it, which is what a lot of people are looking for in a cab. Has more structure, good food wine. This has some really nice smoothness to it, good structure, good balance. Just tannins are on the sweet side. Now I'm getting a little bit of a hit of a spice note on the back end of this one. I like this cab. Might be a little too more fruit forward for myself. The tannins are a little sweeter than I like personally, but I think a lot of people like this wine. I'm going to go straight up B. I think it's a solid Cabernet Sauvignon for $19. Long finish too. I like that about it. Let's move on to the Bookwalter Reader's Cabernet Sauvignon. This is 2022, so we had two 221s and now we have two 22s. This is the most expensive of the group that I'm tasting today. This rolls in at $22. John Bookwalter's very intelligent man. I've been to a tasting with him, and he did a tasting for me on Zoom, and it was very interesting and compelling. He's a very cool guy. I'd like to have him back at some point. Columbia Valley, Washington. This rolls in, like I said, at $22. Color on this is fairly dark, kind of a blackish red color. There you go. See what we get on those. Well, this has a very interesting, almost kind of a soapy, like, you know, kind of a perfumed soap, like a Cabernet soap. Nice currant, pomegranate notes coming through. A little dustiness as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. Good structure, good balance. Again, licorice on the backside on this, big time. Good structured tannins. A little bit of grip on the backside, of course. Both the M100, Revelry M100, and the Bookwalter would all do well with a nice steak, some meat, would really help. I like this one. The tannins aren't quite as sweet as the M100, but definitely nicely balanced. Good pomegranate notes, cherry, currant coming through, long finish, good structured tannins. Good, solid, well-made cab. I like it a lot. $22. I'm going to go B plus A minus on that. Good cab. The Revelry, probably of all four of these, is the best value here for sure. And can't remember what grade I got. Hopefully, I gave it a B plus. A well-made cab. So that's my favorite of the bunch. I think the Bookwalter came in second, M100 third, and a distant fourth for the Blackboard cab. So there you have it. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I'm going to be focusing on Washington wines during Washington Wine Month, the first official Washington Wine Month. So I'm looking forward to more of these episodes. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you can see what's coming up. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.